Welcome to the Freight Agent Insider Podcast, hosted by Levi Van Pay.
All right, everybody, welcome back to a new episode of Freight Agent Insider. So excited to have everybody here. I'm your host, Levi. We are bringing you all of the latest, greatest, newest, bestest stories from around the industry with freight agents every week. TIA conference was great. If I saw you there, shout out you. A lot of fun. Please be sure to go and subscribe all of our channels with the show, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a review. Not 4 stars, not 3 stars, definitely not 2 stars. Won't even talk about 1 stars. 5 stars, it's all I accept. Okay. Head to freightagentinsider.com. Go to the page, talk to us live. Right from your phone, you can pre-record a question and we will answer that question with our show guests. It's a lot of fun. Get involved. We want to have you on the show. All right, let's dive in. This is the second time we've had her on the show. The first time went about as well as it could have. My internet kicked out only like 4 or 5 times during that episode, and she was still phenomenal. Everybody, welcome back, Brittany Cole. How are you, Britt?
Oh, hi.
Good to have you back on.
Thanks for having me.
Hair is looking great. Texas weather must be good.
No, it's a little humid, actually.
I don't know about that life.
You wouldn't know about it.
No, I got the Viking blood in me up here, so
I'll
still
trade you.
dealing with 10-degree weather. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take it.
All right, so B. Cole, last time you were here, I mean, we talked a lot about, kind of your background as a W-2 freight broker. I won't steal your thunder on this. Why don't you bring us all, for the new guests, bring us up to speed on who you are, what you do, how you've gotten to where you are now with Revival.
Okay, so long story short, basically started with a lease company, pivoted to a brokerage, kind of turned over the ownership, and we have a great owner and boss kind of overhead all of that. We've actually now grown our asset company. I think we have 4 trucks and 6 trailers. It's kind of ever growing. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're going
That's awesome.
going steadily, but pretty quickly.
Yeah, as are you. I think, we talk relatively often, right? And I think since you were on here last, even your book of business has grown. What's working for you?
It's a good question. I think a lot of it, like I said, is just kind of constant referrals. And I think like I've kind of have harped on before just a little bit is just being transparent and hardworking and honest and trying to, be fair and treat your drivers and customers right. And it kind of just rewards itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you mentioned before we got on, Revival's asset side of the business is really expanding. That's something that's always been interesting to me because for our brokerage Select, we're agent based, but we're non-asset based. So we don't have trucks. A couple weeks ago, we had Cody Godfrey on the show who just hit 100K a month in profit. He's an agent at a smaller operation, but they do have assets. And he's been adamant that that's really helped him with his growth.
Yeah.
Is that something that has aided in your book growing as well?
Specifically, no. And I think that that's mainly just, I honestly don't really run into a lot of shippers that really request that. We try to feed our assets, shipments if we have them, if it works. Most of the time it doesn't because they're pretty busy with their own book that's tailored to them. Me specifically, no, but a lot of the other salesmen, it's kind of a good foot in the door. And I think it's always a good model to, if you have assets, to get both of your companies set up and build that relationship. And if you're not able to satisfy them or exhaust your options on your assets and you're able to kind of broker it out, So I think they work really good together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know how you're doing it, but it's like every time we talk, you're like, Levi, I just landed another customer. Like you walk into these shippers, and I love what you do, by the way. Like you're not a cold caller. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're not a cold caller. Like you go to these shippers, you get in the dirt and the mud, and you roll around, not literally, hopefully, but you put on the hard hats and you learn the inside of the business with these shippers. They love you, and then you just kind of close business. Is that like the day-to-day life of Brittany Cole?
No, but I think that's the cool part is, I think just that perspective, I think when I just go into any shipper, no matter who it is, I mean, we just sit down and honestly just kind of, shoot the crap, just kinda talk, and it's
Yeah.
just generic and easygoing and kind of just explain what we can and can't do, and just the authenticity, I think, gets us further than anything. And it's just, kind of tying back into the market. I think you might have asked me that question, kinda how the market's being right now, and I can just tell you that a lot of shippers are really wanting more thorough brokers, um, with
Mhm.
communication and being prompt and, tracking on the trucks and just English speaking drivers and good equipment. So a lot of them, aren't as thorough as they wanna be, but I think the more thorough and transparent you can be, it gets you a little bit further.
I know you pretty well at this point, and, to me, you're funny as hell.
Okay.
Like, when we have our off-show conversations, you make me laugh quite often. Do you kind of lean into your personality when you're talking with and closing shippers, or do you keep it kind of above board, ultra professional, "Here's what we can offer you, here's what we can do."
I have some that are very kind of like corporate, and it's very just black and white email transition or email transactional, and don't
Yeah.
really talk on the phone, but they'll call me if they need something. And then all of my other customers, I mean, I would say it's extremely personal. I mean, almost so
Mm.
personal. I know their family and their kids, and like, I mean, we're talking every day. I mean, they'll call and just say something absolutely ridiculous on the phone. Sometimes I have to make sure they're not, like, on speaker, but, I love it. I mean, I would honestly say probably 9 out of 10 times, out of all of my customers, it's extremely personal and just super friendly, and we can joke around and just have fun, but as far as, like, selling on that, I think you gotta kinda feel who you're dealing with, but no, like, just being me and being you, I think will just attract the right customer and the right relationship naturally on its own.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. I was talking with last week we had Ryan Paul, shout out Ryan on the show. And we were talking a lot about how a little bit different, but on the recruiting side of the business, how personality and not only personality plays into landing
Mhm.
a client and or customer. We were talking about like are tattoos. Like I've got all sorts of funky tattoos. Some people detest it. Some people are like, "Oh, you're not professional because you have these tattoos." And this is just one example. Versus another recruiter might not have tattoos and they're like, "I'll go with that girl or I'll go with that guy because they're more professional." Do you see kind of the same thing? Not and I'm not talking about tattoos, but I'm just talking about like personality and maybe selling style, how that's kind of playing into your success.
My own opinion, and it's like I said, it's just my opinion. I think it's very, very specific on maybe the customer or the industry, but
Yeah.
I mean, I feel most of the time when you go in, they already know how I say the market, they don't know our side and feel and logistics, but they understand their industry that they're in. So, like, I feel like trying to come in and, like, talk about their industry and tell them what's going on or trying to, I think there's a difference between trying to maybe understand the commodity, but they don't I don't know, a lot of my customers just don't wanna hear it. I mean, their jobs are so hard and so busy. I try not to really bother them on just, like, their side of the world. I mean, they're calling us for a solution, and that's just kind of what I offer, and then kinda just leave it at that. I mean, I don't wanna talk to them, steel's fluctuating or oil's fluctuating and this and that, and all of this is going on. I mean, I think that they really, truly, honestly I gotta plug my computer in. Eek. I think they honestly just enjoy to be able to kinda have just, like, a normal conversation during the day and not
Yeah.
be hounded or bothered. Uh,
Yeah.
that's not for everybody, though. Um I enjoy it. I know that they enjoy it. But I don't know. I think it's just
You mentioned 2 commodities there, steel and oil.
eh. I'm not on steel. I ain't in that world at all. The
You're in oil, gas though, right?
oil, gas, manufacturing, but I mean mainly oil and gas. Um,
She's from Texas, I can tell by the
where's
way.
where's my interest?
You're down there, right? You're
Yeah.
you're Texas based. Is a lot of your shippers, are they also based down there? So, like, does that become an advantage for you?
I think that pivots into the other conversation, the other question that you're kind of wondering about
Yeah,
how, maybe if Texas has a better advantage or whatnot. I think that we're a lot more competitive than other states or other regions. Like I said, the
yeah,
northwestern is pretty hard for me. I think it's hard for a lot of people. Um, the dynamic of drivers and stuff's a lot different.
sure.
But Texas, I mean, a lot of mine are out of Texas. I get a lot of referrals out of state. Um, I mean, we ship long hauls and stuff, but I mean, I would say out of Texas, with us being here and kind of developing our everyday drivers. I mean, we don't really have a lot of issues, I don't think.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing because, like, Texas, I don't have a lot of agents that move, like, specifically in Texas, even though there's so much industry down there. It seems like you guys are kind of in your own little bubble
I
down
think
there.
all of mine, I mean, I haven't even really done many long hauls. I mean, over the course of my whole career, yes, but I mean, a lot of my stuff's just moving within Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of contingent states.
Earlier when we were talking about assets, and if the question was asked if that's helped you grow your book, you said no. So tell me a little bit more about, like, what a strategy that you've been using that has helped you grow your book. Like, what's working lately? I guess, like, what's working in 2026, because a lot of people are definitely still on the struggle bus.
Again, I think every situation could just be very different. As far as like selling, I don't sell our asset company. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not even really I'm never really even asked, oddly
Mhm.
enough. Um, but as far as assets go, when we talked last time, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't have anything to do with it. And then here I am. I had a conversation with my boss, and he's,
Yeah.
purchased a trailer that's about $700,000. So it's, a 13
Woo!
axle trailer. But that specifically, that pivoted within the last month from when I talked to you, because the amount of work that I'm having for that type of equipment with the very large oversize, over height, over dimensional, overweight. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, we're stretched out 155 feet or longer, um, overall. Just my customers, they needed it, so a lot of them, if it's like, over 165,000 whatnot, they do it in house because it's so heavy and dangerous, and they don't ever outsource it. Well, we now have the equipment to do it. And, over the years of working with them, they're gonna kinda outsource that to us. So, like, the work has kind of just came to us. So I went to my
Mhm.
boss, I'm like, "Hi, you're doing this, but I really want this trailer." And he's like, "Let me look at the numbers." And so, he did it. He just texted me today and sent the money and paid for it, and we get to pick it up. It's in Houston.
That's
So it's kind
incredible.
of exciting. So that's our first, like I said, we do this all the time with, direct
Yeah.
carriers, but we now have our own tangible trailer that we get to use and our own asset.
So you guys are hitting hyper growth in 2026.
Slow and steady. Slow and steady,
Slow and
but
steady growth.
yes, we
Okay.
are growing. Brought on another agent. I don't know if he's accepted it, but, kind of branching out and bringing on new people.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that Revival is growing. Not reviving, just growing. Uh, and, you know, this is Freight Agent Insider. You're on the W-2 side. I love getting W-2s on here to talk about, not necessarily, like, we don't have to talk about agency. I love talking about the W-2 side just because it is so different. And in fact, again, bringing up Ryan Paul when he was on last week, um, we got to talk about some of the differences between W-2 and 1099. We got to talk about, even recruiting W-2s in this job market, which seems to be
Mhm.
becoming more and more competitive. So I guess with that said, I mean, your opinion on the W-2 side of things, Brittany. I'd love to hear your take because, like,
Been
as you've
ever
kind of gotten to
changing.
know.
It's been ever
Yeah,
changing. It's been
for
ever
sure, for
changing.
sure.
But no, like you're saying, with the market and how the economy is, I've wrestled with it back and forth with a lot of other people and, having offers on the table or I could have this and that. And it's just, I think the more that I'm learning, and I'm going to give an example because I don't know if this gentleman's coming on with us or not, but that's really what opened my mindset to like really grapple with the difference because I've never talked about it before until I talked to you. And then when my boss was like, hey, we're talking about this agent, up in Illinois. And I was like, okay. And he's a W-2 employee now, but he's almost like an agent, so, like, he handles his whole book, does all like, he acts like an agent, but he's a W-2. So he was like, "I wanna come down," he was happy with the offer, but we're kinda keeping it regional, so we're not stepping on toes here in Texas, there's already 3 of us down here. Um, but he was like, "If I wanna" he's doing about 30-ish thousand profit a month, so, pretty decent.
Mhm.
And he was
Yep.
like, "If I want back and support our dispatcher, will you do it?" And, my boss was like, "Absolutely." So, like, it's a huge incentive to him that that's not gonna come from his paycheck, his portion. That's a company expense. And so he gets to scale and he gets to grow. So he's really excited about that. But it's also like I think you're talking about how the market is. Again, the stability. And also, I don't know very many, like, agents where, like I said, having the support that I do with our company, where I'm like, "Hey, go buy almost $1,000,000 in an asset because I wanna use it and I wanna sell on it," and they
Right.
do it. I mean, that alone I just don't know very many agencies at all, that would ever put the belief in, your employees to go purchase such an expensive asset.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I've always kind of looked at, sorry to cut you off, Brittany, but a real quick note on that. I've always kind of looked at you and Revival as like one of those unicorn W-2 companies where, like, we've talked about even like the KPI side of things where, like, your boss doesn't hold your feet to the flames of, "Hey, did you make your 100 cold calls today? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you posting or X, Y, and Z?" You have a little bit more free reign because you're a seller, you are a killer.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like that for everybody there, but you are doing that.
Yeah, and it's, every salesman's different. There's gonna be waves, growth, lows, highs, but it's just, even when we're not, doing as hot as we wanna do, I mean, the amount of support and moral support and encouragement that we have to, like, ride, the lows, like, there's, like, "Stick with it, keep doing it." So it's not even like even when we're not doing what, maybe what we're even happy with personally, like, there's so much support. And it's not like, "Oh my god, am I gonna lose my job? Like, what am I gonna do?" Like, I mean, it's just like, "Okay, address what's going on, and it's a low season right now, and just take it as it is, and, it'll kick off." It always does. I mean, there's always gonna be
Yeah.
weird seasons but it's good. I mean, so even on that aspect, there's not a lot of hounding on producing in your calls, and then it's also when it's low, like, "Okay, we have grace to kinda get through it." And as an agent, you can't always speak for that because if you're not producing, you know what I mean, you're not making your money. So it's
That's
like
right.
it's like I think I've said it before. It's such a double-edged sword. Um, but I think again, it just is very just specific, I think, where you're at.
Fully is. I have friends like yourself, Brittany, who are W-2s, killing it, making a lot of money. I have friends who are agents, killing it, making a lot of money. I also have friends who were agents who did not kill it. And you're absolutely right. If things aren't going well, if your biggest customer decides, "Hey, we're moving to using another carrier partner, unfortunately, we have to let you go."
Mhm.
Well, Papa's gotta eat. How you gonna do it? Either you gotta go hunt, you gotta go kill another,
You
you
just
got to
can
go.
never be complacent. I mean,
Yeah.
it's complacency kills, I think. I think there's a point.
Mm.
I mean, I say it all the time, and oh, there's a saying. I wish I knew where it is. I'd have to look it up. I don't know if it's what's the crazy guy from like Bruce Almighty. What's his name? Who is that?
Jim Carrey,
I
are we
think
talking?
it's Jim Carrey, where it's like if you don't want to sacrifice a year of your lifestyle for like for your entire future, you're never gonna get ahead. You're never gonna be happy. And so like it's like if I have to sacrifice an entire year of grinding it out to have a whole solid book of business that's gonna pay me back and work for me, then I'm gonna do it. And so it's like you cannot be complacent. So I mean it's just a point of always kind of not being like hyper vigilant, but it's also like, you lose an account. I mean, that's your that's your life, that's your income, your
Yeah.
stability out the window, and you're gonna have to hustle to get it, and it's hard. It can be hard to get another account. Um, it's just luck of the draw, I think. So, I mean, it's the W-2 side, I think if you're with the right company. I mean, it's a huge relief, especially if, you have children and a family and just having some support.
Absolutely. In risk threshold or risk tolerance,
Mhm.
where does that come in? Like, I see more people these days on the younger side of the spectrum. I'm talking like 22 to 25 that are becoming agents. Why? They don't have anything to lose. They don't have kids.
Yeah.
They don't have a wife or a husband that they have to support, or they're supporting them, vice versa.
Mhm.
And if you're going to take that chance, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's much more different when, you have a
Absolutely.
mortgage, you have a family, it's totally different. So where's your risk
Mhm.
tolerance, your risk threshold at? Or in a minute ago, you mentioned the highs and the lows, and I really like that,
Mhm.
because I wanted to ask you, and we'll focus on the highs a little bit here.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you what maybe the most memorable deal that you've had in the last year. What does that look like?
Closing, like, an account or
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've been in the trenches. I've had to start over, walking away from, book of business for 4 years. So I've lived in my lows and I've been writing. We say it all the time, it's like not comparing yourself to, the other salesmen and what they're doing, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna, be humble about it, but I'm gonna ride the wave while I have it, and we've been up for a long time, but I mean, I will work my ass off. I mean, I will work circles around people, and
Yeah.
like I said, I think it comes into just, putting in the work now, and you don't have to. I think any agent that's you've talked to or will be on the show can justify that. Um, get it built, sustain it, and you can ride it for as long as you want to until you're ready to kind of bite off more. But what was your question?
I don't
Oh,
that
just
was that was
the highest one. I think it's all exciting to
that's
me. It's all
mhm.
exciting. I've said it before, I think it's just cool to go into a customer and they're like, "Hey, vibing with you and I like it and I want you to sit with me on the bad days." And I think that that's kind of the cool part. I just never know what I'm gonna get into or what new industry or commodity I'm gonna have to learn. But it's just I think the biggest win that I think's the newest for me is now I get the fun pressure of having to produce to keep, our big asset busy now. It's very large commodities. I mean, this isn't just, your small hot shot flatbed dry van. I mean, it's very large commodities. And we're like I've said, we're doing some big stuff going to Ohio. It's all a win. I mean, we talk about,
Yeah.
um, putting on my hard hat and all of that. And
Mhm.
I think the biggest opportunity that I'm waiting for, hopefully I can share soon, is we have some really big generators, basically, some big equipment from Texas going up to, Ohio area. And we're the very first out of probably six other deliveries that went to a staging site. And we're the first, my customers trusting me to be the first to deliver to location. No one's done it before. Everyone's nervous. I mean, I texted him. I was like, "Good morning. I'm your morning anxiety." And he's laughing at me.
Mhm.
But like, you talk about opportunities. And like I've said, if you just put yourself out there, and like I just got last week, or the week before, we got rewarded or awarded to be the first
Mhm.
ever broker that they've ever implemented. in their company. They've only done asset companies, and we are the first
That's
one for
incredible.
yeah, we're working on, redlining our MSA and all of that, and, like, we're the first company ever, and people are like, "How did you do it?" And I think it's just my relationships with people, and that is the only thing. That's the only way, and the other side of it is, you know, if you're given an account, whether you know someone or not, I mean, you have to put in the work and sustain it,
Yeah.
or they're gonna leave you, but it's just like it's fun.
The You just hit the nail on the head. I think in so many ways, the idea of building a relationship is inevitably what leads to business. And I preach it on LinkedIn. Today, what are you going to do? Go make a friend. Doesn't mean you have to close any business. Make a friend. If you can make one friend a day in this industry, it will translate to business.
It
It always
has.
does.
I have seen it, it is insane. And
Hmm.
I never really processed it until lately, like, there's difference between, like, walking in and getting an account versus, like, having, like, a rooted relationship with someone where it's like, no matter what happens, like, they're gonna trust you, and on the bad days, they're not gonna leave you. I mean, there's just an we c it happened with another customer of mine, probably my first ever big boo-boo I've
Hmm.
ever made in my career, and he's yelling at me and I'm crying. And then, like, the next week we're talking on the phone. I'm like, "Oh, are we over this, breakup?" And we're laughing about it. And, I'm like, "Oh my God, I lost this account. I messed up. I made a mistake." And I was literally crying. And he was like, I was just, it's funny. I mean, but none of that would be, tangible if I didn't have like a physical, a good relationship with this person. So, it will get you so much further than just being surface level. Um,
Flipping this a little bit, but kind of on the same, this is something I was thinking about actually earlier today, and you just kind of re-sparked this for me. Um, there's a lot of weird guys out there
okay. Mhm.
in this. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. There's a lot of strange
I'm
people out there.
listening.
And I'm not picking on men, but let's be realistic. There's some strange ones, okay? There's some strange cats. There's some strange women too. There's some strange people, but
You're weird.
um my my strength, my superpower, maybe if I had a superpower, it would be my ability to listen to people and hear them, and inevitably that does result in relationships. I always wondered if this is I can be Anik, if you're listening to this, rip me apart after this. She always corrects me on some of this
Mhm.
stuff when I start talking about men and women. Um, but for women, especially on the recruiting side or on the customer, like just like what you're doing,
Mhm.
Brittany, on the customer acquisition side, it's harder for women because like what I do, I can follow up with a dude
Yeah.
and they know like it's business. Like
Yeah.
they know it's like it's a friend, it's business. For women, it's like, "Oh, this woman is reaching out to me. Why? What is that for?" Or if I reach out to this woman, she's got to keep her guard up because what does he want? Is
Yeah.
he a weirdo? Am I hitting on anything here? Or am I fishing? What am
You
I doing?
are, and I have kinda had to live in that stigma a little bit.
Mhm.
And, I'm just gonna say it. If you're pretty and smart, write it. Figure it out. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, that is part of the game, as cringy as it is. It's annoying. But at the end of the day, like I tell everyone, there is a stigma. It's like, oh my gosh, you only have it because, you're a woman and you got it. But at the end of the day, like I've said, is I think I have to work twice as hard as a man sometimes. And like I said, I don't think I work with
Mhm.
any women, to be honest with you. None of my customers that I have to work with on a day to day are women. And so that has come with,
Really?
yeah, there's no, not one. And so that's kind of tailored into how I hold myself, how I present myself when I go out to
Mhm.
meetings. Um, and there's a lot of feedback that I hear about, and it sounds bad, like with the stigma of how you're presenting yourself sets the tone of how you're gonna be respected in your relationship. And as a woman, and there's a lot of women in this industry, I think if you hold yourself to a high standard and you set your tone and don't go into the mindset that you have it because you're a woman. Because I think I can get in the door. There could be a million reasons people could say why, but at the end of the day, no matter whether you're given an account or not, it, it's going to last because of you and your work ethic. I mean, that's all that matters. And so I have the stigma that if I land something, I'm gonna have to work twice as harder than a man. And I think that a lot of
Yeah.
men look at us like that, just here we are again, just a girl, don't know anything, I don't know what I'm doing, and then they're like, "Damn, I could call this lady at 1 o'clock in the morning," and it happens. I'll be like, "I will stay up with you, and I'll stay up with my drivers," and there is just I any of my customers will say that. And so, like, I will do circles around men, and I would love to break that stigma. Um, and it's just, if I don't know something, I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna learn. Um, but it's I mean, yeah, I mean, people are weird. There's everyone's weird, male, female, kid, dog,
Mhm.
whatever. I mean, it's just weird. Um,
Mhm.
but I think it's just it's really fun to break that mold and break that stigma and kind of, show up and show out. And it's worked.
Yeah. Well, if you were and to, like, give credence where credence is due, if you were just a pretty face, like, you would not be building the book and I know how much business you're
That's a thing
doing. We've kinda
that's a
talked about
thing
it.
I've learned, like, I've sat in, like, like, our after hours and people are drinking and men
Yep.
being men, whatever, and they're like, "If
Sure.
you were pretty, you could do that," and I'm like, "Ew," like, that doesn't give you the longevity, like, it is so cringy
Right.
to me because, like, that is a thing. There is, marketing and whatever, and, like, I wanna hire, a
Mhm.
pretty person and, like, yeah, it sells, it works, but, like, you're gonna have to have, like, an actual brain behind it and, like, an actual work ethic, and having all of that, I mean, even as men, good looking, not whatever. We're getting in such, like, a weird conversation, but it's just, like,
I
at
love it.
the end of the
I love it.
day,
It's super
it
important.
doesn't matter. It's just if you're gonna be authentic and work hard, and, I mean, it can get you in the door. I mean, you know what I mean? It'll get you in the door, I'm not gonna lie, but
Does it does that ever backfire on you? So what I mean by that is, like, let's talk about these creepy dudes out there. Maybe you're getting a foot in the door with a shipper and dude just turns creepy. And all of a sudden it goes from, like, yeah, I'll give you to my business to I'll give you
I
my
walked
business
away from
with said
accounts.
contingency.
I've
Yeah?
walked away from accounts, and again, like, I talk
Good
about
for you.
it, and I've had these conversations with my boss, like, I called him and I'm like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and he's like, "There's no amount of work, there's no customer that is worth, your mental health or crossing
Yeah.
boundaries," and, like, walk away, and we talk about being an agent, like, it would be very, very unfortunate to be in that situation, like, if you have to rely on an account, and it's very real. It is very real, especially for women, and I talk about it, and I'm probably, like, a liability at this point saying this out loud, but, like, my customers, and it sounds weird, like, because I do work with a lot of men, but I being strong and how I present myself doesn't put me in weird situations, for one, but, like, I went out to location in West Texas, and I
Mhm.
had to drive, like, 20 miles onto, like, a lease road to where I was going, and the guy that I work with, the supervisor of all his wells, was like, "I'm gonna send, my guy underneath me to help lead you in." And I'm like, some little tiny rental car and, like, potholes, and I'm like, I asked him, he was like, "Follow me," and I'm like, "Can I just park and ride with you?" So, like, I didn't know this person, and he was texting the supervisor, he's like, "She's in my car. What do I do?" And I was like, I'm just like, "Hi, how are you?" I don't know. I'm not being naive, but, like, why do people have to be weird? Why does there always have to be, like, a motive? Like, we're just humans, like, I don't know. Like,
I
I don't know.
fully
I don't
agree.
know.
No,
So, edit that
there you
out,
go
maybe.
hitting nails on heads again.
Ugh,
Why does everybody have to have a motive?
I don't
This
know.
was something that I fought and am fighting to change this stigma in the freight industry specifically. That this podcast is a perfect example of that. The whole idea behind it was get information to younger people who are about to chain themselves to lifelong debt via school
Yeah,
because they don't know anything about this industry. There's nobody talking about freight. There's nobody talking about logistics. It's like, oh, if you want a degree in supply chain management, go ahead, go get it for 4 years. And then you get it and you realize, wow, I could have got into this industry 4 years sooner, wouldn't have 100K in debt with crazy interest. And I would be so much further ahead and making so much more money. So, like, doing things without a motive, doing things that just benefit other people. We're talking about relationships. Like, this is a perfect example of when you give more than you expect to get back, that's typically when good things start happening. I think that was a great point, Brittany.
What was the what? What'd you say? Sorry, my phone was going off.
All good. We're nearing the end anyways. Why don't we end it with this one? Give us your best advice for anybody out there who is either kind of piggybacking off of what I just said, who's looking to get into the industry. You're a great avenue of that. On the W-2 side, whenever somebody on the Freight Agent Insider TikTok page is asking me how to get into it, I always say start with the W-2 route. You don't have, you know what I mean? Like, so what's your advice on that side of it?
I said I think if there is an agency that will hire you without anything or that would train you, I think that that would be it. I think it's be true to yourself, set your tone, figure out what you stand for and stick to it. And I honestly do think that it just will naturally lead to your path like anything. And I think if you're just not going to be authentic or do something you're not comfortable with, or try to, oversell yourself or whatever, it's just going to lead to just something that's just not natural and that just isn't going to be a good fit. Um, and I will die on that hill. Um,
Stay true to
I think
yourself.
it just works. And like I said, if being me gets these opportunities, then, I'll have it, whether it's because I'm a female or not, it doesn't matter. I put myself out there to where I think I am not trusted to be given that opportunity. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that it's just I don't know, I think it just boils down to who you are and your personality. And it's just, I think, especially speaking from a woman's standpoint, I mean, just do circles around these men and show them out. I think it's fun. So
Do circles around these men. That might have to be the title of this episode. I love it.
maybe let me think on that one a little bit.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I just, you get it. It's just,
I do.
I fuel myself, and I just told you, like, hitting, like, a burnout stage, and then it's, like, finding out, we're hiring other agents and someone's creeping, and I'm like, I'm over it, back at it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I think of the position that we're in, it gets to be fun. It doesn't lead to, like, a corporate burnout. I'm burnt out just because 'cause I'm tired and I got kids and I'm sleepy, but it's just, like, I am busy, but the competition side of it is actually really fun. Um, and I love it.
You thrive off that.
So,
Yeah, you thrive on that.
again, something's probably mentally wrong, but I think it's fun. So,
We love it. I'm so happy that we made it through this entire episode without the internet cutting out. We actually got a good episode this time around. I love the first one, but this went really smooth. Britt, thank you so much for joining. Everybody, come on back next Monday, 9 a.m. Central. We'll have another one ready for you. We'll see you then.
hey,
Brittany, thanks again.
goodbye, stay warm. Bye, Levi.
Thank you for watching the Freight Agent Insider Podcast. Like us and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and LinkedIn